Shalom לכל ישראליתים בברזיל, בישראל ובאחרות או אחרים, אמין. כאן אסף בנמי קריספין לוי אשר מדבר איתכם. אני הייתי רוצה לדבר איתכם על תורה, דברים אשר יוצאות מרפא יהוה. Here, the elder Assaf Benami Crispin Levi, Asher, who speaks with you, and I would like to continue with the studies of the Torah. We stopped at the item number 104, and now we're going to the item 105. Anyone or anything coming into contact with semen becomes ritually unclean. I would like to invite you to follow with me in Vaikra or Leviticus, chapter 15, verses 16 to 18. Vaikra, chapter 15, verse 16 to 18. And when a man has an emission of semen, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until evening. And any garment and any leather on which there is semen shall also be washed with water and be unclean until evening. Well, you can see here the importance of purification, because if you make a sexual relation during the night, we will be impure until the next afternoon. We must pass by a process of purification, and it's important to observe the mitzvot of the Torah, and principally in the Shabbat, because if you make the sexual relation in the Shabbat is over, because the sexual relation is impureness. And the Shabbat is holy. The Shabbat is Kadosh. The day that you are purified, sanctified, and blessed this day. Then, according to the Torah, you can't make sexual relation in Shabbat. If you do, you impure until the afternoon, the next afternoon. Well, we're going to see this item 105 in the oral law. Item 105. Bereshit 38. Bereshit chapter 38, verses 8 to 10. Let's go there. I invite you to follow with me. Bereshit 38. Bereshit 38. Verse 8 to 10. And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his, and it came to be, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spied on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased Yahweh, so he took his life too. And you can see the scene of Onam, one of the son, or one of Yehuda brother, Yehuda's sons, because when he was going to make sexual relation, he did the semen fall on the ground, and he did ejaculate into the genitalia of the women, and it displeased Yahweh. And because there is a law of purification. Then I'm going to read again, and you pay attention. And Yehuda said to Onan, "Go in to your brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother." And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his, and it came to be, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spied on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased Yahweh, so he took his life too. And Yahweh, because he didn't fulfill the law of purification, okay, and he was eliminated from the face of the ground, of the earth. Well, we're going to see this item. Anyone or anything coming into contact with semen becomes ritually unclean. In the time of Yahushua's and his Talmudians, 105. Ephesians 4, Ephesians 4, 17 to 19. Ephesians. Let's go to the book of Ephesians. Ephesians 4, chapter 4, verse 17 to 19. So this I say and witness in the Master, that you should not longer walk as the Gentiles walk, in the futility of their mind, have been darkened in their understanding, have been strangled from the life of Elohim because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their heart, who having become scholars, have given themselves up to indecence, to work all uncleanness with greediness. Then you can see that the marriage, according to the Torah, is very kadosh, is very holy. And we must not make the indecence, the greediness, the uncleanness, impureness. And we must follow what the Torah says, what the words came out from Yahweh's mouth. If we make one sexual relation during the night or during the day, we're going to be impure until the afternoon. Well, let's go to the other item. A woman with an abnormal discharge, Zabah is ritually unclean. A woman with an abnormal discharge, Zabah is ritually unclean. Vaikra, Levíticos, Vaikra. Vaikra 15. Vaikra 15, 90. And when a woman has a discharge, and the discharge from her flesh is blood, she has to be in her separation for 7 days, and whoever touches her is unclean until evening. Let's see yet the verses 25 until 28. And when a woman has a discharge of blood for many days, other than at the time of her monthly separation, or when she discharged behind her usual time of monthly separation, all the days of her unclean discharge shall be as the days of her monthly separation. She is unclean. Any bed on which she lies all the days of her discharge is to her as the bed of her monthly separation, and whatever she sits on is unclean as the uncleanness of her monthly separation. And anyone who touches them is unclean, and shall wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. But if she is cleansed of her discharge, then she shall count for herself 7 days, and after that she is clean. Well, this Zabah, abnormal discharge, is a woman with abnormal discharge. Zabah is ritually unclean. For example, the normal discharge, the nida, is 7 days, like you read in Vaikra 15, 19. And when a woman has a discharge, and the discharge from her flesh is blood, she has to be in her separation for 7 days, and whoever touches her is unclean until evening. Then is a normal discharge. The nature of women that the Eternal One gave to her. This nida, menstruation, it can last until 3-4 days, but she must fulfill the 7 days. Then this item of the Torah is speaking about the abnormal discharge. Who is abnormal discharge? When this blood flood, it lasts plus than 7 days, it's abnormal, it's not normal. And supposing that this blood flood or discharge of flood of them, it lasts for 40 days. We can see that this woman, after he be cleansed, she stayed 7 days in observation by the Kohen. And after the 7th day, and she was cleansed. Well, let's see in the Torah oral law, this item 125. Bereshit 125. or 105, sorry, 105. Bereshit 38, Bereshit 38, Bereshit 38, Bereshit 38, 8 to 10. And Yehudah said to Onan, go in to your brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up and her to your brother. And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his, and it came to be when he went in to his brother's wife that he spied on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased Yahweh, so he took his life too. Well, we see the case of Onan that we cited before, but we can see Gam to the Rivka's case when it was mounted on her house or her horse, and with the stolen objects of her father, and she spoke with her father, I can't get up because I'm in the days of Nidah, of menstruation. Well, to finalize, let's read this item. A woman with an abnormal discharge, Zabah, is ritually unclean in the time of Yahushua and his disciple, his Talmudim. Matthew, or Matityahu, Matthew, chapter 9, 20 to 22. And see a woman who had a flow of blood for 12 years, came from behind and touched the tzitzit of his garments. For she said to herself, if I only touch his garments, I shall be healed. But Yahushua turned, and when he saw her, he said, take courage, daughter, your belief has healed you. And the woman was healed from that Torah. We can see here this abnormal discharge that this wife had. We can see that this tormented her for 12 years. 12 years. And when she saw the opportunity to touch on the tzitzit of Yahushua, he touched, and she was healed. Well, we stopped at the item number 106. Yahweh bless you and your family. If you like this study, give your like and to share with other brothers. Shalom lekulan. Yahweh bless you and your family. Yahweh baruch ata veramishpahagam. Shalom adik ra yom ramishich rabah. Im meod limod shel Torah. Shalom lehitraot.